Greetings, Deep Dive Podcast listeners. This is your boy, Sam Orum, coming at you with another episode of the Deep Dive Podcast. How is everyone doing tonight? How is everyone? Man, let me tell you, this is the season finale of the 2024 version of the Deep Dive Podcast. I cannot believe that this season is over already. I typically record, most of the year, and then on the what am I trying to say? The last of October. I take November, December off from doing the live or recorded podcast, and then I go into January with fresh new content, concepts, or whatever. And I'm looking forward to this January, really kicking off season 5 because we're going to have a great time. I got some things I'm already planning. It's going to be a little bit of a different format. So I'm just excited for that. But for season 4, we've had an incredible season. Lots of great content, information, empowerment. So it's been a great time, and just getting the chance to interact with each and every one of you, that's always a blessing. I want to, as usual, thank all of you who have been our continued supporters through all 4 seasons of the Deep Dive Podcast. Your support means the world to me, and I really appreciate that. And then also those of you who may be new to the Deep Dive Podcast, never been here before, welcome to our community. Welcome to our community of empowerment, opportunity, elevation, success, hope, all of these things. So welcome to the Deep Dive Podcast. Guys, I want to close out this particular season 4 of the Deep Dive Podcast. I know that we got to have a couple more months in the year, but I want to kind of give you, just an insight in terms of what we should be doing in November and December, preparing for what should be the best year of our lives, which is 2025. And I really want to just kind of give you some thoughts and just some notions on what that may look like. Part of it is to reflect on what you did or what you're currently doing in 2024. And then the other part is to be able to prepare for 2025. So let's just kind of jump into a couple of things. And by the way, thank you to all of the sponsors for supporting throughout the year. Again, it means the world to me that you would, put your money in terms of what your value and views are for the Deep Dive Podcast. So thank you so very much. I want to talk a little bit about, 2024 for us and for you, even though, again, we have 2 more months in the year, but I want to kind of reflect a little bit, review a little bit, refresh a little bit, because the things that you've learned and experiences that you've learned through 2024 is going to help you immensely in 2025. The first thing you want to be able to do, though, is to just kind of reflect on any achievements or challenges that you had in 2024. Review all of your goals. Every year, some people make New Year's resolutions, and, they say they're going to do X, Y, and Z throughout the year. Well, review your goals and, review the things that you actually accomplished and areas where you fell short. All right. Note or document any lessons that you learned in 2024. So just look at what you've done. What did you do? If you fell short, what are the things that caused you to fall short? It could have been time, it could have been money, it could have been anything. But what are those things? Because again, you want to document those lessons so that those things can be rectified in 2025. Now, if you had milestones or accomplishments in 2024 that you did, achieve and you're excited about, take time to acknowledge even the small wins. Every win is a win. You want to take time to acknowledge those, because what that does is just boosts your motivation and your gratitude for what you're doing. So take the time to celebrate those milestones. And if you had some situations in 2024 that you just need to clean up going into 2025, you want to take some time to just kind of clean out the clutter, whether that's physical clutter. You want to physically declutter your office or your workspace or your home, create a clean environment to start a fresh year. Everything that's not necessary, everything that's kind of holding you back, any kind of clutter, clean those things out. over the next 60 days, November, December, before you go into 2025. See, what's important when people, and I don't make New Year's resolutions because I resolve every year to do what I'm going to do anyway. I hold myself accountable. I have my goals and I have the standards that I'm going to live by every single day. So to make a New Year's resolution is not so significant to me. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not that, it's not a good thing. It's just that I'm resolving to be the best that I can be every single day. And I don't necessarily have to resolve or make a resolution for the year because it's kind of, already baked into my DNA, right? So you want to make sure that when you're preparing for 2025, even if you're going to make New Year's resolutions, you want to declutter your life before you even make that resolution. Okay, declutter your life even before you make that resolution. And like I said, it could be a physical declutter, just stuff that's around your office, your desk, your home, whatever, your car. But you also want to declutter your digital life. And this is important for a lot of people because, digital aspects of lives have become so prevalent that it can be overwhelming as well. For example, you want to clean up your emails. Now, I'm as guilty of this as anybody. I would show you guys, but in the interest of time, I'm not going to go there. But I have over 500,000 unread emails in my email box, over 500,000. Now, that don't make no sense. Either I need to read them or delete them. I need to either read them or delete them. But that's a part of just decluttering your digital life. Clean up the emails or organize any files that you may have, digital files. Unsubscribe to any unnecessary, notifications or apps or whatever. If you're not going to use it, just unsubscribe to it. That's going to declutter your digital life. And then you want to set aside a day just to kind of rest. Dedicate some time over the next 60 days. And I say a day, but just, days, periods of time, just to unplug, just to refresh, allowing your mental and your emotional self to have clarity going into 2025. So take some time to just kind of rest, and, again, reflect on what worked and what didn't work in 2024. Now, a big part of everybody's resolutions, a big part of everybody's year is just financial and career type things. Well, you want to start planning now for 2025 for your financial or any kind of career type of planning. The first thing you want to do is, conduct a review of sorts of your financial situation from 2024. Just do that review. Look at your budgets, your expenses, your savings, and just see where you stand with those things. And then based on that, you want to plan for next year's financial targets, just based on, again, what you learned, good or bad, for in 2024, right? Then you want to adjust your business strategy. If you're business owners, you always want to adjust your business strategy because, let's face it, life, business, technology, everything changes every year. So you can't go into the next year with the same type of strategy because so many things change around it. I get people ask me all the time because, they know my history is in the medical profession. So people ask me all the time stuff about medical things and medical questions. And I'm like, man, I don't have a clue. They're like, why don't you have a clue? Because what I learned in 1991 has no relevance today. I promise you that. 99% of what they're doing today is totally different. So what we learn about sternocleidomastitis, it may be different than what's going on today. So, well, that happens truly with your business, your, career, whatever it may be going into the next year. You want to adjust and adapt to what that year has to offer for you. And if you had any kind of investments, investment portfolios, things of that nature, you want to look at that too. Reassess your financial portfolio, whether you have an advisor or whether you're doing it yourself, just to ensure that you're on track for what you want to do for 2025. That's very, very important. If you're looking for a career or career opportunities or career planning, you might want to update your resume or your portfolio. Just kind of reassess your financial portfolio, reassess professional documents. Like I said, whether it's your resume, make sure it's up to date. You can imagine wouldn't imagine how many people's resume, they're looking for career opportunities, but their resume is not up to date. It doesn't reflect, the latest version of who they are. Want to make sure that the documents are up to date, professionally done, and also, just to be prepared for any kind of unexpected opportunity. So you want that resume or that portfolio to be as robust as possible, even in preparation for things that may not have even manifested themselves just yet. And a part of that too is just to set career goals. Again, we're talking about financial or career planning for 2025. So you want to set career goals. Now, even if you're in a business, and a lot of our listeners are, they're doing business, you still want to make sure that you set those goals for development, the business development as well as the personal development. Because what's going to be important, you have to consider that, the skills that you want to or need to acquire in order to achieve what it is you're looking to achieve in 2025. You may need a new skill. You may need to learn and understand a new form of technology, whether it's AI or whatever it may be, right? So you want to be able to continue to develop that and, just kind of work on experiences that you'd like to have in the upcoming year in order to grow personally and in order to grow professionally. So look at that. That's going to be very important now. When you're talking about 2025, looking at your skills where they are today, where do you want them or need them to be, before you go into 2025. A big part of that, and you guys know I've talked about this, countless times over the past 4 seasons, but just goal setting and visioning what 2025 should look like. I just told people in our company last week, I think it was, the importance of just setting goals and having a vision. We have a big event tomorrow in New Orleans, and want to talk about goal setting and visioning for 2025. That's going to be critical. It's very important. Write a personal and a professional vision statement. What does that mean? That just means, where do you see yourself and or your business in 2025? Write that out. Define what you want to accomplish in the upcoming year and what success means to you in the year 2025. In other words, when you look back this time next year, 12 months from now, you're preparing to close out 2025. Will you be able to say that 2025 was a successful time period for you? And if you are, what is going to determine whether or not that was a successful time period for you? So write those things out in terms of a vision statement for 2025, and just define key goals. Choose 2 or 3 priority areas, whether it's your health or your job or your career, your business, relationships, whatever it may be. But choose 2 or 3 priority areas and set measurable goals for each one of those things. So if you're setting a health goal for 2025, set measurable goals. We call them SMART goals, okay? That's an acronym for specific, let me see if I remember, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and trackable. That's SMART goals, SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and trackable. And set those goals for 2025 so that you'll know, okay, if I'm, talking about my health, this is how I track this. This is how I determine if I was successful. If you're talking about your business or your career, your relationship, how do you want your relationship to be with your spouse or your significant other or your kids or whatever? What does that look like? What I tend to do, and this may be a good idea because I like to just kind of measure my goals incrementally, but you might want to break your goals down into quarters, the 4 quarters of the year. So what does January through March look like? And maybe do a quick evaluation on Q1, the first quarter, to see what that looks like. Develop a timeline for each of your goals so that you're not overwhelmed with those goals and you don't get behind and you have to kind of feel like you're cramming toward the end of the year. You can track your progress easily. So I would suggest breaking those goals down into quarters, 90-day increments. That works very well for me. You do a reevaluation, kind of hit the reset mode on your goals, and then go from there. I'm also a big believer in a vision board, whether it's electronic or whether it's paper or poster or something you have posted up, but just kind of be in a position to always see the things that you want to attain with your goals. And a vision goal is super important in terms of making that happen. If you got a digital vision board, whether you want to have a car this year, a house this year, or a vacation with the family, or open your bank account and you got $10 million in it, whatever it may be, put that on your vision board. You'll be amazed at how powerful that vision board manifests things in your life. I've had that happen to me where things were manifested just based on my vision board. And there have been times where other people had vision boards and the manifestation has been incredible. That's a quick story that comes to mind. This was several years ago. I've always talked about creating vision boards with the leaders of my company, and I talk about creating that vision board. And one of the new leaders that was in my company, he did just that. He created a vision board. He had it on his bedroom wall, and we did a meeting. Myself, a couple of my business partners. We had what's called a home business meeting. So there were several of us at his home, and we did the meeting. And then after the meeting, he, kind of pulled me to the side, and I'm like, what's going on? And he wanted to share with me his vision board. So, I'm taking a look at the vision board, but he wasn't just interested in sharing it with me. He showed me something on his vision board that it was a watch and it was on his vision board. And the reason he wanted to share it with me is because I had that exact watch on that was on his vision board. I mean, literally the exact watch, same color, same diamond, the same thing, the exact watch. And I was so impressed with the fact that he, first of all, did a vision board because most people, you say that and then people don't do it. You know how people do. So they don't do it, but he actually did it. But he had that watch on there, and I was so impressed with him. I actually gave him that watch. I gave him that watch right off my wrist. Now he wasn't expecting it or anything like that. I didn't know what was on his vision board, and he didn't know what was on my wrist. But I gave him that watch, kind of reluctantly, but I did it. I gave him that watch. Well, the point I'm trying to make is not the fact that I gave him the watch, but the fact that he manifested something that was on his vision board. And he didn't know that however long it was after that, and it wasn't in the business that long, so it couldn't have been too long after he put together that vision board that he actually got that watch because I gave it to him as a gift. So it's a power in having that vision board digitally, physically, and mentally, having that vision board. All right. And when you're going into 2025, a big part of your success, a big part of your quality of life is just your health, your wellness and relationships. Part of your wellness, a lot of people don't know this, by the way, is the health of your relationships, friends, family, co-workers, church members. The health of your relationships is also the health of your wellness. So you want to keep that in mind in going into 2025. So kind of assess, your health and your well-being, your mental health. I can tell you one of the things I'm going to do when I kick off the podcast season 5 in January is to talk about mental health, in particular in the space of Black men. I'm going to talk a lot about that. But yeah, assess your health, assess your well-being, reflect on your physical, reflect on your mental, and reflect on your emotional health for 2024. And you're doing that so that you can set attainable health goals in each area for 2025. That's going to be very important, all right? In each area, physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, all of these categories, you want to be able to set goals for 2025. A part of that also is to build better habits. A lot of times, the reason we don't have the things we desire is because we create bad habits. Anything you do 21 days consecutively, good or bad, it becomes a part of who you are. So if you're doing some bad things or things that you don't want to have in your life, you have to recreate yourself by recreating habits. And you can do something for 21 days straight, it becomes a part of you. Evaluate your daily habits and replace any negative routines, any negative habits, any negative things, any negative whatever, right? Replace those with positive ones, positive things, no matter if it's something big or small, and you work on those things. one of the things that I worked on in 2024, and I think I did a pretty good job. Um, couple of things actually in 2024, a couple of things that I worked on. I promised myself that I wasn't going to be so quick to, use a cuss word. Y'all know I used to drop a lot of cuss words because I get all fired up and I don't know, I just kind of get in a zone with what I'm talking about, whether it's business, whether it's podcast, it doesn't matter. And I get myself so worked up, then I start cussing, and then I'm like, you know what, Sam, you got to do better. You got to do better. So in 2024, I did a lot better. If I had to put a number on it, and I'm just throwing these numbers out, let's say in 2023, I might have cussed 1,000 times. 2024, I might have cussed 100 times. That's still too much, but it's a whole lot better than it was before, and I'm working on it. Now I say those cuss words for just really extreme times and situations and circumstances when I need to make my point, and I can't make it with intellect. I have to make it with thuggery. So that's what I say those cuss words for. But seriously, though, you want to make sure that you create good habits, and the bad habits, you replace those with good habits. You also want to strengthen key relationships. And this is probably one of the most important things because I believe that the level of one's success is based on the level of your relationships. How are your relationships with people? How are your relationships with businesses? You know, I'm doing some business stuff as we speak. I'm always doing business stuff, but I have a strategic plan just to develop relationships because I do believe that these relationships, they're going to take me much further than me trying to go through the process of doing whatever. So I'm developing those relationships. That's a business relationship. You want to do the same thing personally. You want to nurture these relationships, even with your family. Sometimes you need to strengthen your relationships with friends and family, right? If you love somebody, tell them you love them. It bewilders me why people, you just don't. You love somebody, let them know you love them through deeds, through actions, through saying I love you, those kind of things. People leaving this that world left and right. I guess it's because I'm getting older and it's like people dying every day. But give people their flowers while they're alive. So you want to strengthen those key relationships, friends, family, relatives, whatever it may be, right? We talked about setting healthy boundaries. Review where your energy went last year, and then determine any boundaries that you want to set for 2025. When I say last year, I meant to say this year, 2024. But set any boundaries that you want to, create for 2025. Okay, that's very important. So as we get out of here, guys, just make sure that you're preparing over the next 60 days, November and December. You're preparing for 2025. You can't wait to 2025 because you're going to, lose some things. Okay. So plan for the first month of January 2025 right now. Plan for it right now. Set up the first month, set up January with clear objectives to start strong. Clear objectives to start strong. All right. And then you also want to start a gratitude practice. Again, I talked to this in a training last week with some of my leaders, but gratitude is a common denominator amongst all champions. Be grateful for where you are. Be grateful for what 2024 brought to you. But then you also want to, be even better in terms of your gratitude and your vision for 2025. Committing to write, maybe 3 things that you're grateful for each day and creating a positive and reflective mindset to carry yourself into the new year. What are you grateful for in 2024? Even if you didn't write anything in terms of gratitude up until this point, for November and December, just write out some things that you're grateful for in 2024. Okay, write those things out. And then you want to create that positive, attitude for gratefulness going into 2025. Okay, you want to be able to carry that into the new year. So if you look at these things, guys, these are just some things that I think is going to be important, as I mentioned, to close out 2024 get ready for 2025 with a bang. We have had an incredible season 4 of the Deep Dive podcast. And again, I cannot thank you guys enough for your support. Some of you either watched or listened to every single episode. That is so powerful, and I'm so thankful for that. For those of you who may not have a chance to participate in every episode, don't forget you can go to the Deep Dive Podcast live. Every episode is there. The Deep Dive Podcast live. All 4 seasons are there. It's a lot of content, over 100 plus episodes. So go back and review some of the episodes. And if you have any thoughts or ideas on what we should do in 2025, I'm working on that now. So this is the perfect time to say, hey, look, take a look at this, take a look at that. Let's do this, let's do that. Because this is not my podcast. It's our podcast. All of us in the Deep Dive podcast community, we own this particular platform. All right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, download, and share. Let's continue to grow together. Thank you again for such a wonderful 2024. I look forward to coming back on the air in January of 2025 with new content, new guests, new ideas, new ideology, and new qualities of life. With that, thank you guys so very much. God bless you, and I'll see you on the beaches of the world.